Sweden's Coast Guard says it's discovered a fourth hole in the Nord Stream pipeline that runs under the Baltic Sea between Russia and Europe. NATO says the breaches have been caused by deliberate and reckless acts of sabotage. Russia, though, has denied responsibility. Let's speak now to Dr. Sara Vakhshouri, an energy strategist and consultant. She joins us live from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for joining us. We've seen these incredible scenes of gas bubbling to the surface of the sea. What's this going to do to the markets?
Well, the moment that the first leak was even reported, the prices started soaring and increasing, especially at the market that we have a significant shortage of supply, obviously, and we are heading the cold season.
These pipelines connect Russia to Germany. Now, they're not in operation, but they were full of gas. How does Europe respond to this? Even though the gas isn't flowing, what can it do to protect itself?
Well, if we are talking about how does it protect itself in terms of its energy security and energy resiliency, obviously Europe is going to rely on its own gas storages this winter, which might not be sufficient, but also to import LNG from different LNG exporters in the market, looking in switching its power generations to different types of fuel like liquid petroleum products or coal. So it's definitely looking for alternative sources of energy and suppliers.
But the challenge there is that alternative sources can't be switched on overnight. It takes time to build that up.
Exactly. There is no quick fix for that. But as you mentioned, Russia already, before these leaks, have threatened Europe and stopped the flow of natural gas export from these pipelines to Europe. So it's going to be a rough winter for Europe, obviously. But and as exactly you mentioned, there is not a quick fix for that. But already European countries are looking at least into looking for new benchmarks or pricing mechanism to make sure that the prices are not going to go out of control for natural gas inside Europe.
The US, the EU, NATO have all said that there's some deliberate act of sabotage here. Now, they've not named Russia directly, but it strikes me that surely nobody stands to benefit. If somebody has indeed gone along and caused some rupture to these pipelines, it's not in Russia's interest, it's not in the EU's interest either.
No, it's not in no one's interest because, again, we just discussed it. Russia wanted to threaten Europe. It could easily stop the flow of natural gas. It didn't need to puncture or damage the pipeline that it's taking its oil to its major market share. But also Europe doesn't benefit from that. No one really in this energy crisis globally benefit from that. So it's very hard to really find who will benefit from that.
Prior to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, prior to February of this year, we saw Russia supplying Europe with lots of its energy, especially gas and oil. Do you think in the future we'll ever see that kind of situation replicated, or have we gone down an irreversible path now?
It seems we've gone down to the irreversible path. However, in terms of at least oil exports to Europe, we see a change of flow. So most of Russian gas is now going to Asia, and most of the Asian supplier of crude oil, like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, most of the OPEC producers are now diverted their oil exports to Europe. This is not a natural way because of the distance, natural flow of oil. But it seems it's irreversible unless there is some major changes in Russia. It might take years that European countries want to go back and forget what happened in terms of Russian attack to Ukraine and threats to Europe. So we are thinking that alternative sources, particularly nuclear power generation, however, that will take some time. It's going to take a decade to be constructed, but definitely different sources of natural gas, different sources of energy are going to be part of Europe's energy security and energy basket. But again, Russia's export to Europe is so huge that there is not a quick, complete 100% alternative for that in the short term.
It's a situation we'll follow closely here as well on BBC News. Sara Vakhshouri joining us from Washington, D.C. Thank you.